Hello world. JustProfessor here. You have an idea. It's different. It's weird. It might actually work. And then your brain immediately starts listing all the reasons why it won't. Too risky. Too expensive. People will think it's stupid. Within 30 seconds, you've talked yourself out of it. And another potentially great idea dies before it even gets a chance. This is convergent thinking bias. And it's the reason you're stuck doing the same things everyone else does while wondering why nothing changes. Your brain is wired to narrow down options, eliminate possibilities, and find the one correct answer. That's great for math tests. It's terrible for creativity, innovation, and actually solving problems in new ways. And it's keeping you trapped in a box while pretending you're thinking outside of it. So, what is convergent thinking bias? It's when your brain automatically jumps to finding the single right answer instead of exploring multiple possibilities. Someone asks a question, your brain immediately starts filtering through options to find the best one. It's looking for what's safe, what's proven, what fits the rules. And in that process, it kills every creative, unconventional, interesting idea before you even consider it seriously. Here's the problem. Most of life doesn't have one right answer. There are multiple ways to solve a problem, multiple approaches that could work, multiple paths to success. But convergent thinking doesn't see that. It sees a problem and immediately tries to narrow it down to the single best solution. And the criteria it uses for best is usually most conventional, or least risky, or what everyone else is already doing. Let me give you an example. You're trying to grow your business. Convergent thinking says there's a right way to do it. Follow the proven formula. Do what successful people did. Copy what works. So you look at what everyone else is doing, and you do the same thing. Now you're competing with a million other people doing the exact same thing, and you're wondering why you're not standing out. It's because convergent thinking led you to the same answer as everyone else. But if you used divergent thinking, you'd ask, what are all the possible ways I could grow this business? You'd come up with 20 ideas, some good, some bad, some completely crazy, and one of those crazy ideas might be the one that actually works because nobody else is doing it. But convergent thinking never lets you get there, because it kills the idea the moment it seems unconventional. This shows up constantly in education. The entire school system is built on convergent thinking. There's a question. There's one correct answer. Your job is to find it. If you give a creative answer that's outside the expected range, you get marked wrong. So you learn to stop thinking creatively and start thinking convergently. You learn that the goal is to find the right answer, not to explore interesting possibilities. And that training sticks with you for life. Then you enter the real world where problems are messy, complex, and don't have one right answer. But your brain is still in convergent thinking mode. So you try to force every problem into a box where there's one correct solution. And when that solution doesn't work, you're stuck, because you never learned how to think divergently. You never learned how to explore possibilities without immediately judging them. Convergent thinking bias is also why brainstorming sessions fail. Someone suggests an idea, and immediately people start picking it apart. That won't work because of X. We tried something like that before. That's too expensive. The idea dies before anyone explores it. That's convergent thinking in action. Everyone's trying to find the flaws, narrow down to the best option, eliminate the bad ideas. But in the process, they eliminate all the ideas. Real innovation doesn't come from convergent thinking. It comes from divergent thinking, from exploring weird possibilities, from combining things that don't normally go together, from asking, what if, instead of, why not? But most people never get there because their brain is stuck in convergent mode, killing ideas faster than they can generate them. Here's another way this shows up. Problem solving at work. Someone presents a problem. The team immediately jumps to solutions. And all the solutions are variations of things that have been done before. Nobody explores new approaches because convergent thinking pushes you toward the familiar, toward what's already proven, toward the safe choice. And then everyone's surprised when the same old solutions produce the same old results. Convergent thinking also kills creativity in personal life. You want to make a career change. Convergent thinking says there's a right way to do it. Update your resume. Apply to jobs. Interview. Take the best offer. But what if you started your own thing? What if you reached out directly to people you want to work with? What if you built something instead of applying to something? Convergent thinking never explores those options because they don't fit the standard path. They're not the right answer. The same thing happens with hobbies, relationships, and life decisions. Your brain is constantly looking for the one right way to do things. And in that search, it eliminates all the interesting, unconventional options that might actually make you happier. So why does your brain do this? Why is it so obsessed with finding one right answer? Because convergent thinking is efficient. It saves mental energy. When you narrow down options quickly, you can make decisions fast and move on. That's useful when you're doing routine tasks or solving simple problems. But it's terrible when you're trying to be creative, innovative, or solve complex problems that don't have obvious answers. Your brain also loves convergent thinking because it feels safe. When you are looking for the proven, correct answer, you're less likely to make mistakes. You're following a path that others have walked before. But that safety comes at a cost. You never discover anything new. You never innovate. You just keep doing what's already been done. Here's the really frustrating part. Convergent thinking doesn't just kill your ideas. It kills other people's ideas too. When someone shares a creative suggestion, and your immediate response is to point out why it won't work, you're using convergent thinking. You're narrowing down, eliminating, finding the flaws, and now that person learns to stop sharing ideas with you because you shut them down every time. This is why some companies stagnate. They're full of people with convergent thinking bias. Every new idea gets shot down because it doesn't fit the proven model. Every creative suggestion gets dismissed because it's too risky or too different. And the company keeps doing the same things while competitors who think divergently leave them behind. So, how do you fight convergent thinking bias? How do you stop your brain from killing every creative idea? First, separate idea generation from idea evaluation. When you're coming up with ideas, don't judge them. Don't immediately ask if they'll work. Just generate as many ideas as possible, even stupid ones. Especially stupid ones, because sometimes a stupid idea leads to a good idea. But if you judge every idea the moment it appears, you'll never get enough ideas to work with. Second, force yourself to come up with multiple solutions. Don't stop at the first answer that seems right. Push yourself to find 5 more, 10 more. Most of them will be bad, but one of them might be brilliant. And you'll never find it if you stop at the first conventional answer. Third, ask what-if questions. What if we did the opposite? What if we combined these two unrelated things? What if we ignored all the normal rules? These questions force your brain out of convergent mode and into divergent mode. They open up possibilities instead of narrowing them down. Fourth, delay judgment. When someone shares an idea, don't immediately point out the problems. First, explore what's interesting about it. What could work? How could it be improved? What possibilities does it open up? You can evaluate later, but if you judge too early, you kill ideas before they have a chance to develop. And finally, surround yourself with divergent thinkers. People who explore possibilities instead of immediately narrowing to one answer. People who ask, why not, instead of why. Their thinking style will rub off on you and help break you out of convergent thinking patterns. Look, convergent thinking isn't bad. You need it sometimes. When there's a clear right answer, when efficiency matters, when you're executing on a proven plan. But most people are stuck in convergent thinking all the time. They never switch to divergent mode. They never explore. They never play with possibilities. And that's why they're not creative. Not because they lack creativity, because they keep killing it before it has a chance to grow. The truth is, the world doesn't need more people finding the same answers everyone else is finding. It needs people exploring new possibilities, taking creative risks, trying things that might not work. And you can't do that when your brain is in constant convergent mode, trying to narrow everything down to one safe, correct answer. So next time you have an idea and your brain immediately starts listing reasons why it won't work, recognize that's convergent thinking bias. And tell your brain to shut up for a minute. Let the idea breathe, explore it, see where it goes. Because the idea you're about to kill might be the one that actually changes everything. If you're tired of your brain killing every creative thought you have, hit subscribe.